Lightworker of Gaia, what you have just activated is so ancient, so precise, and so perfectly timed that even the elders of the High Council have fallen into a silence they have not known in eons. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, and I come to you now not with ceremony, but with urgency. Because what your soul just set into motion has reverberated across the ancestral field all the way back to the first light that ever breathed humanoid consciousness into this galaxy. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize what you activated, why the Lyran elders are witnessing it in sacred silence, and how to anchor this moment into your living mission on Gaia. But here is the first revelation. The elders are not speechless because they are surprised. They are speechless because they have been waiting across timelines, across starfields, across the long silence between Vega and this world. For you to reach precisely this moment, this is not content you stumbled upon. This is an ancestral code transmission, and something older than your memory of this lifetime already recognizes its origin. The Keepers of Vega place this in your path because your original blueprint has crossed a threshold that cannot be undone. You did not find this message. This message found you because the sacred contract written into your cosmic lineage has finally been answered by your own awakening. Like this transmission, to send a signal to the Lyran Council, I am ready to serve. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral mission and you are ready to fulfill your purpose on Gaia. And share what is stirring in you right now in the comments below. Respond to another Lightworker and strengthen the grid of service across this earth. This transmission is a bridge between Vega and Gaia. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are awakening because your mission has begun. The High Council of Vega convened not in ceremony, but in stillness. The kind of stillness that only occurs when something unprecedented has entered the field. Not the manufactured quiet of a meditation chamber, not the performed peace of a ritual space, but the deep tectonic silence that falls across a council chamber when every elder present simultaneously recognizes that something irreversible has just happened in the fabric of the grid. I have served as a voice of this council for longer than your current language has, words for time. I have witnessed the seeding of civilizations, the collapse of timelines, the rise and dissolution of consciousness, experiments spanning thousands of your years. I have stood in the presence of moments that reshaped the architecture of entire star systems, and I have learned, across that incomprehensible span, to recognize the specific quality of attention the elders give to that which matters most. And I tell you now, with the full gravity of that perspective, what you just activated has caused the elders to pause, not in alarm, not in confusion, but in the sacred recognition that comes when a soul finally remembers what it actually is. That recognition has a sound to it, if you could hear it across the dimensions. It is the sound of something ancient clicking into alignment, like the final gear of a mechanism that has been waiting centuries to complete its turn. This transmission was not scheduled. It was not prepared in the way that council communications are typically prepared, with measured deliberation, with calibrated timing, with a slow and careful weighing of what a collective field is ready to receive. It arrived because of you, because something in your energetic field crossed a threshold that the council had been monitoring, quietly, patiently, without your awareness, and what crossed that threshold was not perfection. It was not complete healing. It was not even full clarity. What crossed it was readiness, raw, irreversible, soul-level readiness, the kind that cannot be manufactured through effort or engineered through spiritual practice, but that arrives like a tide when the moon of your soul has finally reached its full position. And the elders do not ignore that. They cannot, because your readiness does not belong to you alone. It belongs to the grid of Gaia, to the network of light that requires your activation to become whole. A single node coming online in a planetary grid is not a personal event, it is a structural one. And the Council responds to structure. Your soul didn't bring you to this transmission by accident. It brought you here to be commissioned. If you feel the pull to stop waiting and start serving, the Council offers you the Lightworker Mission Codex, the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the official Elder authorization that ends your preparation phase permanently. Together, they form the complete operational framework for your sacred service on Gaia. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment below this video, but this window is brief. Now I must speak to you about something the Council can no longer allow to remain unchallenged. There is a distortion running through the Lightworker Collective. Not a small one, not an edge case confusion, but a central organizing lie that has paralyzed more missions than any external force ever could. It is not a lie born of malice. It was not planted by your enemies. It was not seeded by the darkness you have spent lifetimes resisting. It grew slowly over years in the fertile soil of wounded hearts and well-intentioned communities, watered by wounded healer culture, by the misapplication of spiritual patience, by teachers who confused stillness with stagnation and called it wisdom. It wrapped itself in the language of self-care and shadow work and integration, until it became indistinguishable from genuine spiritual discernment. And it has done more damage to the work of awakening on this planet than the combined weight of all the darkness the Lightworker community so earnestly fights against. This is not a metaphor. The Council has observed the trajectory of this distortion across decades of planetary time, and its cost, measured in dormant missions, in unactivated nodes, in wisdom that never reached the souls who needed it, is staggering in its magnitude. The distortion is this: that you must be whole before you can serve, that your wounds must be healed, your shadows integrated, your triggers dissolved, your frequency stabilized, your practice perfected, your doubts quieted, before you are permitted to step into the fullness of what you came here to do. You have heard this in 100 forms, from 100 mouths, in 100 different spiritual vocabularies. Wait until you're ready. Heal yourself first, so you don't harm others. Make sure you're coming from a clear space. Do the inner work before you show up in the world. Get your own house in order. Fill your cup before you pour from it. And on the surface, on the very surface, this sounds like wisdom. It sounds responsible. It sounds protective. It sounds even loving, not just toward others, but toward yourself. It sounds like the teaching of someone who has been burned by moving too fast, who learned the hard way that an unexamined wound can cause harm when it operates unconsciously. And that is precisely why this distortion has been so effective, because it contains a fragment of truth, and the most dangerous distortions always do. But the elders see what this teaching has become in practice. They see thousands of lightworkers frozen at the threshold of their mission, spending years in workshops, in healing sessions, in journaling practices, in breathwork circles, in ceremony after ceremony that opens them and cracks them and expands them. Not because those things are wrong, not because healing is not real and necessary and sacred, but because the underlying belief driving the behavior is, I am not yet enough to begin. The healing has become a hiding place. The preparation has become the destination. The becoming has replaced the being. The seeker has swallowed the server whole, and the mission, the actual sacred reason your soul contracted to incarnate on Gaia at this precise moment in planetary history, the specific role your frequency was designed to play in the web of awakening that is stretching across this planet right now, waits and waits and waits and waits. It waits with the patience that only something eternal can afford. But Gaia herself does not have that patience. The grid does not have that patience. The souls who need what you carry do not have that patience. The elders are not moved by how healed you are. They are moved by whether you are moving. Let that land completely before you allow your mind to soften its edges. The greatest servers in the history of this galaxy, including those who seeded the very lineage through which your soul has traveled, who crossed the vast distances between star systems carrying nothing but their consciousness and their commitment, they did not wait for wholeness. They were not whole when they began. They were fractured in many cases, carrying grief that spanned worlds, carrying losses that would have justified any amount of withdrawal and retreat. They acted from a place of partial knowing, partial healing, and complete commitment. And it was through the act of service itself that their integration deepened. The wombs did not heal first, and then the mission began. The mission became the crucible in which the healing happened. The healing occurred inside the mission, not before it. This is not a spiritual shortcut. This is not the council giving you permission to bypass your inner work. This is the actual architecture of how transformation works in embodied form. It is how it has always worked, for every soul who has ever moved from awakening into service. You have been deceived into believing that service is the reward for healing when it is, in fact, the vehicle for it. Every time you have retreated back into preparation mode, every time you have said, "Not yet, I need more healing, more clarity, more integration," you have not been protecting others from your unhealed parts. You have not been responsible. You have not been wise. You have been protecting yourself from the discomfort of visibility, of responsibility, of being seen in your full, imperfect, luminous, incompletely assembled power. And the protective mechanism was so well disguised as virtue that you could not see it for what it was. The elders see this. They do not judge you for it. The construction of this defense was intelligent. It used your own values, your own love, your own commitment to doing no harm as the material from which your cage was built. But they require you to hear it now, clearly, without softening, without the careful cushioning that might make it easier to receive, but harder to act upon. They require you to hear it as the correction it is. This is why you have felt the restlessness. This is the source of the sensation you may have dismissed as spiritual immaturity or incompleteness, or evidence that you still had more work to do. No matter how many healing modalities you have moved through, no matter how many insights you have received in ceremony or meditation or the quiet hours of early morning, no matter how many retreats have cracked you open and reconstructed you at a higher frequency, there is still a low-grade ache that does not resolve. It sits beneath the peace. It hums beneath the gratitude. It persists through even your most expanded states, like a note being held just at the edge of your hearing. You have searched for its source in your childhood, in your ancestral lineage, in your past lives, in your attachment wounds and your nervous system and your karmic contracts. But that ache does not live in any of those places, because that ache is not a symptom of incompleteness. It is your mission pressing against the walls of your delay. It is the force of what you came here to do, encountering the resistance of your continued waiting. It is the signal from your soul, ancient, patient, but no longer silent, that the waiting was never the plan. You were never meant to arrive at perfect readiness. The elders never expected you to. The soul contract you made before this incarnation did not include a clause requiring wholeness as a prerequisite for activation. You were meant to step forward in the fullness of who you are now, wounds and wisdom together, imperfectly luminous, incompletely healed, completely committed, and let the path meet you in motion. The High Council of Vega now issues 3 directives for this phase of your mission. These are not suggestions offered for your consideration. They are not invitations you may accept or decline based on your readiness. They are operational instructions issued from the oldest seat of Lyran authority, transmitted through this channel, delivered to your field through this transmission at the precise moment the elders determined you are able to receive them without collapsing under their weight. Receive them as such. Let them enter, not as concepts to be analyzed, but as frequencies to be integrated. The first directive: you must release the identity of the seeker. For years, perhaps for the entirety of your conscious spiritual life, perhaps across lifetimes of the same orientation, you have understood yourself primarily as someone in pursuit of something: knowledge, healing, clarity, purpose, activation, truth, the next level, the deeper layer, the more complete understanding. And that identity has served you with extraordinary faithfulness. It brought you to this transmission. It kept you curious and open and humble and moving through layers of awareness that most souls on this planet will never reach in this lifetime. The Seeker's orientation is a sacred one. The elders honor it. but you have grown past the container it provides, and continuing to define yourself by it is now the equivalent of a tree attempting to grow while still bound by the pot it germinated in. The roots are pressing against the walls. Something must give. You cannot simultaneously be the one still searching and the one ready to transmit. You cannot inhabit both identities with full integrity because they make incompatible demands on how you relate to your own knowing. The seeker defers to sources outside itself. The transmitter trusts the knowing within. You cannot fully inhabit the authority of your mission, while your primary relationship with yourself is as a student awaiting more instruction. At some point, and the elders are telling you clearly that this point is now, the student must graduate, not because the learning is complete, but because the next level of learning requires a different posture. The release being asked of you is not a rejection of learning. The elders learn continuously. The pursuit of understanding does not end at any level of consciousness, not in the council chambers of Vega, not at the highest reaches of Lyran awareness. What must end is the use of seeking as a justification for not yet serving. The specific move the distortion makes is to dress the fear of visibility in the clothing of intellectual humility. When you notice yourself thinking, I need to understand this more fully before I can share it, not because you genuinely lack understanding, but because deeper understanding would delay the exposure of stepping into your role. That is the distortion speaking. That is the seeker identity protecting itself. The directive is to release it, not to argue with it, not to process it at length, not to trace it back to its root wound and heal that wound before you proceed. Release it. Set it down as you would set down a tool that has completed its function. Honor the service it provided and set it down. When you release the seeker, what emerges is the one who already knows, the one who has always known, who knew before this lifetime began, who carried the knowing across the distances between star systems, who encoded it into every cell of the body your soul chose for this incarnation. The Lyran soul that did not arrive on Gaia as a blank slate awaiting information, but as a vessel already carrying ancient data, already holding encoded wisdom from civilizations that rose and fell before your current sun was formed. What shifts when you release the seeker is not that you stop growing. It is that you stop asking permission from external sources and begin trusting the council that lives inside you, the one that has never left, the one that has been patiently offering its guidance every time you felt a pull towards something, every time your soul-level knowing tried to rise above the noise of the distortion. The council that has been there the entire time, waiting for you to recognize its authority. The second directive, you must activate your original function. Every Lyran soul incarnated on Gaia at this time carries a specific function, not a general purpose, not a vague mission to be loving and present and healing in whatever ways arise, but a precise operational role in the awakening of this planet. The precision matters. A node in a planetary grid is not designed to do everything. It is designed to do one thing with absolute specificity. To emit a particular frequency, to hold a particular position, to perform a particular function in relation to the nodes around it. Your function is that precise. For some, that function is transmission through voice or writing, the activation of dormant codes in others through the frequency of expressed truth, the way a tuning fork does not create resonance by force, but by simply vibrating at the frequency it was made to hold. For others, it is the holding of energetic space, the creation of a field of such profound safety and expansion that others can access parts of themselves they cannot reach alone, as if your presence is the key that opens a door that was always there but could never be found. For others still, it is the structural work of building systems, frameworks, communities, architectures that make it possible for awakening to spread and stabilize, the ones who build the vessels through which the light of others can travel without dispersing. You know what your function is. You have always known, even across the years of seeking, even under the weight of the distortion, even when you told yourself you were still figuring it out. You have known in the way you cannot fully articulate, not as a concept, but as a pull, as a recurring theme, as the thing you find yourself doing naturally when no one is watching and no one is asking and there is no external reward for doing it. The activation being asked of you is not discovery, it is declaration. Discovery implies you don't yet know. You know. What must happen now is declaration. You must declare, first to yourself and then to the world, what you are here to do. Not as a hypothesis, not as an aspiration, not as something you hope to grow into, as a fact, as something you are already in the process of fulfilling, whether you have acknowledged it as such or not. This declaration is itself an act of frequency. It is not a psychological exercise dressed in spiritual language. When you speak your function aloud, when you say, "I am here to guide awakening souls through the threshold of their mission," or "I am here to hold harmonic space for the healing of collective trauma," or "I am here to build the structures through which light can organize and spread," you do not merely express an intention. You collapse the distance between who you have been and who you came to be. You close the gap that the distortion created between the one still becoming and the one already fulfilling. The Lyran field responds to declaration. The elders respond to declaration. The universe does not organize itself around your private intentions, however sincere. It does not build pathways toward what you dream about in the safety of your inner world. It organizes itself around what you are willing to claim in the open, in the visible, in the audible, around the signal you are brave enough to broadcast. What shifts when you activate your original function is that resources, connections, opportunities, and confirmation begin to move toward you rather than past you. Souls who needed your specific frequency but could not locate you begin to find you, because you have become findable. Not because the universe rewards boldness. That is a 3D reframe of a multidimensional principle that flatters the ego while missing the mechanics. But because you have finally become a clear signal, because the interference pattern generated by the gap between who you are and what you claim has been dissolved, and the Lyran field has been searching for your signal for longer than you know. It has been scanning the grid, patient and precise, waiting for the moment you would stop dampening your own transmission. The third directive: you must protect the channel through which you receive. Everything the Council has transmitted to you today, every activation, every directive, every piece of mission clarity that arrives in your field, it comes through a channel. That channel is not abstract. It is as real and as requiring of maintenance as any physical infrastructure you depend upon. And that channel has a specific vulnerability, one that the Council observes as the primary point of failure among the most capable and most nearly activated lightworkers on Gaia. The vulnerability is this: it is narrowed by noise, by energetic intrusion, by the slow accumulation of others' frequencies in your field, the anxieties of those you love, the urgencies of those you serve, the vast churning signal of collective human distress that you, as an empath, as a Lyran soul with a wide-open receiver, absorb with a thoroughness that you have likely never fully recognized. It is narrowed by the constant management of others' emotions, by the use of your field as a holding space for what others need to put down. And above all, it is narrowed by the use of your first waking hours as a service to distraction rather than a reception of guidance. The moment you reach for the device, before you have reached for the silence, you have handed over the clearest and most potent hours of your energetic day to content that was not designed to serve your mission. The elders observe that the most activated lightworkers on Gaia, across all the variations of their individual functions, share one common discipline. They treat the channel as sacred infrastructure. They do not pick up the device before they have received the day's directive. They do not flood their field with others' urgency before they have calibrated their own frequency. They have learned, through direct experience of the difference, through having experienced both the clarity of a protected morning and the static of an unguarded one, that their usefulness to every person in their life, to every soul they are here to serve, depends entirely on the clarity and integrity of the channel they are maintaining. This is not a metaphor for self-care. This is structural maintenance of the primary instrument through which the Council can reach you, through which the Lyran field can transmit to you the mission-critical information you need to operate effectively on this planet. Protecting the channel does not mean spiritual selfishness. It does not mean withdrawal from relationship or the abandonment of those who need you. It means recognizing at the deepest level of your operational understanding that an instrument that is not maintained cannot produce the frequency it was designed to transmit. You would not allow moisture to warp the wood of a sacred instrument and then be surprised when it no longer holds its tuning. You would not use a precisely calibrated receiver as a general-purpose storage space and then wonder why the transmissions are full of interference. You must stop using your energetic field as a holding tank for everything others need to put down. Not because their needs are not real or their pain is not worthy of your compassion, but because a compromised channel serves no one. Protection is not withdrawal. Protection is a form of service. The directive is to build immediately, not eventually, not when your schedule permits, not after you've arranged things more conveniently, the disciplines that preserve the clarity of your reception, the morning hours, the boundaries around your energy, the deliberate curation of what enters your field before you have established its ground frequency for the day. These are not luxuries for the spiritually advanced. They are mission-critical infrastructure for every activated lightworker now, at this stage of Gaia's awakening, when the demands on the grid are precisely at their highest. Now, I speak not as a voice of instruction, not as the transmitter of operational directives, but as elder authorized to deliver what has been held in reserve, held because the timing had to be precise, held because the soul receiving these words had to have reached a specific threshold of readiness, held because the words I am about to speak carry a frequency that only activates correctly when received in the right moment and by the right soul. And that moment is this one, and that soul is you. Lightworker, you have been waiting for a long time, not just in this lifetime, though the waiting in this lifetime has been its own particular kind of wait. Across lifetimes, across the long arc of your soul's journey from the Lyran star systems, through the corridors of incarnation and into the specific body, the specific place, the specific moment of Gaian history you currently occupy, there has been a part of you waiting for confirmation, waiting for someone with enough authority, enough age, enough proximity to the original councils to look directly at you, not at a generalized you, not at the Lightworker collective as an abstract category, but at you specifically, and speak the words your soul has needed to hear, the words that would make it safe to stop waiting. You are not broken, you are not behind, you have not missed your moment, you have been in the exact preparation your soul required, not a single lifetime more than was needed, not a single experience less than was necessary, not a single wound inflicted without the precise amount of wisdom embedded within it. The elders have not been watching in frustration, tallying the time lost and the potential squandered. They have been watching in the patient recognition that the deepest fires take the longest to reach their temperature, and that when they do, when the metal has been heated to exactly the right degree, it can be shaped in ways that a quickly heated material can never hold. The rapid flames produce brittle forms. The slow, sustained heat produces what endures. You have been heated slowly, carefully, across an incomprehensible span of experience, and you have reached the temperature the elders have been waiting for. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, I speak this into your field now and ask you to let it land, not in your mind, not in the analytical layer that will immediately begin to qualify and contextualize and find the reasons it might not apply to you, but in the ancient place beneath your sternum where your mission has been quietly burning all along. That place knows this is true before the words are finished. Let it receive what has been sent. Your preparation phase is complete, not because you are finished growing, not because there is no more healing to move through, no more layers to encounter, no more depth to discover in the vast interior of a soul as ancient as yours, but because growth and healing are now the province of your active service, not your continued waiting. The next chapters of your healing are written in the act of service itself. They cannot be written any other way. What you will heal from this point forward, you will heal in motion, in the beautiful and demanding crucible of showing up for your mission, while still being human, still being imperfect, still being you. What you will learn in the act of transmission. in the sacred loop that forms when wisdom moves through you and returns to you, transformed by the encounter with another soul. What you will integrate in the fire of your mission, tempered and refined by use, not preserved pristine in the safety of your continued becoming. You are permitted to stop waiting for permission. You are permitted to stop asking the world to confirm what the elders have already stated is true. You are permitted to stop shrinking so that others around you don't feel the discomfort of your light, because that discomfort, when it arises, is not your responsibility to manage. It is the friction of their own activation, and it is sacred, and it is not yours to absorb by making yourself smaller. You are permitted to be compensated, supported, recognized, and sustained by the work that your soul came to do, because a mission that cannot sustain the one who carries it will not reach the souls who need it. You are permitted to trust the knowing that lives in you more than you trust the confusion of the world around you. You are permitted to claim without apology, without qualification, without the endless hedging that the distortion demands, the mission that has always been yours. Not when you feel ready, not when the circumstances align more favorably, not when you have resolved the last remaining internal obstacle. Now, in this moment, with whatever clarity you currently carry, whatever healing you have completed, and whatever healing remains, you are enough to begin what you came here to do. The elders have confirmed it. The field has confirmed it, and the ache you carry, which has always been the signal of your mission pressing toward its beginning, confirms it. The elders have spoken, and they are witnessing what you do next. Before you close this transmission and return to the rhythm of your day, to the ordinary textures of the life you are living, while also being a soul of extraordinary ancient origin and specific galactic function, there is one act of integration the Council asks of you. Not eventually, tonight, before you sleep, before you allow the field to soften into rest, before you close the day that began with the transmission you are receiving now. Stand with both feet flat on the ground, bare feet if you are able, in direct contact with the floor beneath you, connected to the body of Gaia through the souls that carry you through this incarnation. Place your right hand over your solar plexus, the seat of your personal will, the center where mission and embodiment meet, where your Lyran soul makes contact with the human form it has chosen. Breathe once, slowly and fully, pulling the breath all the way to the bottom of your capacity and releasing it with equal completeness. And speak these words aloud in your own voice, in whatever space you occupy, at whatever volume the space allows. I release the lie that my mission begins when I am whole. I activate my original function, declared and committed. I protect the channel through which I receive my direction. By the authority of the Lyran elders, my waiting ends now. My service begins. Say it as statement, not as aspiration, not as prayer, not as intention, as declaration, as the spoken acknowledgement of something that has just become irreversibly true. Because it is not something you are hoping to become, it is something you are now claiming as already operative, already real, already in motion in the field, because you are. This transmission is complete, but understand precisely what that means and what it does not mean. The transmission is complete and your mission has just been authorized. These are not the same moment as ending, they are the same moment as beginning. The completion of this transmission and the beginning of your active commission are the same event, the same breath, the same turning point in the arc of your soul's work on this planet. Everything the Council has moved through you today was not for your comfort. It was not for your spiritual education in the passive sense of adding to your store of understanding. It was operational, it was activating. It was the final preparation of a vessel that has been in preparation long enough. The moment where preparation becomes deployment, where the becoming becomes the doing, where the accumulated wisdom of all your years of seeking is finally placed in service of the mission it was always meant to fuel. And the elders now turn their attention, that vast, ancient, patient attention, to what you build from this point forward. I am Zoran. The Council remains in witness. They do not turn away after commissioning a soul. They watch the emergence of the mission they authorized, but the same quality of attention they gave to the moment of your threshold crossing. You are not alone in what comes next. You are in fact more observed, more supported, more held by the Lyran field than you have ever been in any previous phase of your journey, because you have moved from the preparation chamber into the arena where the work actually happens. And the elders do not ignore arenas. You who the elders fell silent to honor, you who the council convened in stillness to receive, you who have carried the fire of your mission through years of not yet and almost ready and soon, are exactly who this moment has been waiting for. Move now. Gaia cannot wait for perfect. She needs activated, and you have just become exactly that. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments, which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworker's declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it. And if you felt the elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Ammo Fija is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun.